Soju is a distilled beverage containing ethanol and water. Jinro and Lotte Soju are the first and third top-selling alcohol brands in the world. It is usually consumed neat. Most brands of Soju are made in South Korea. It is traditionally made from rice, wheat, or barley, but modern producers of Soju use supplements or even replace rice with other starches, such as potatoes, sweet potatoes, or tapioca. Soju is clear and colorless. Its alcohol content varies from about 16.7% to about 45% alcohol by volume for traditional Andong Soju, with 20% ABV being most common. However, by using freeze distillation, ABV can be increased to desired percentage. There are two different ways to produce Soju. The classic way of distilling Soju that uses the single distillation method and the modern way of diluted Soju that uses the chain distillation method. Distilled Soju usually has a higher ABV of 30 to 35% than diluted Soju with ABV of 21 to 30%. As distilled Soju tends to have a higher ABV, it has stronger smell than diluted Soju. It is widely consumed in part because of its relatively low price in Korea. A typical 375 ml bottle of Soju costs the consumer 1,000 to 3,000 South Korean won in South Korea. In Canada, it costs substantially more, euro $5.50 $9.25 as tariffs and excise taxes add on to its original cost price. Now Soju is exported to 80 countries and is in the top market share of diluted alcohol market. Statistically, Soju ranked number 1 in world sale records of the diluted alcohol markets in 2002. Etymology: Soju ce, literally means burned liquor. In 2008 the word Soju entered the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Merriam-Webster dates the word's appearance in the American English lexicon at 1978. Etiquette: Soju is Korea's most well-known alcoholic beverage. Korea has a very strict culture of respect and etiquette. When receiving a glass from an elder, one must hold the glass with two hands and bow the head slightly. When it is your turn to drink, turn away from the elder and cover your mouth and glass with hands. If you are pouring a glass for others, hold the bottle with your right hand and support your right arm with your left hand by touching its elbow. There are a few rules unique to Soju: never pour your own, and don't refill your glass until it's empty. Korea. Soju was first distilled around the 13th century, during the Mongol invasions of Korea. The Mongols had acquired the technique of distilling arak from during their invasion of Central Asia and the Middle East around 1256. It was subsequently introduced to Koreans and distilleries were set up around the city of Kaesong. Indeed, in the area surrounding Kaesong, Soju is known as arak-ju. From 1965 until 1999, in order to alleviate rice shortages, the Korean government prohibited the traditional distillation of Soju from rice. Instead, highly distilled ethanol from sweet potatoes and tapioca was mixed with water, flavoring, and sweetener to create Soju. Although the prohibition has been lifted, cheap Soju continues to be made this way. The Korean government regulates the alcohol content of diluted Soju to less than 35%, but alcohol levels have continued to fall in order to reduce production costs. The lower alcohol concentration also makes the drink milder to consume, which may broaden its appeal. Several regions have resumed distilling Soju from grain. Soju from Andong, South Korea is a traditional handcrafted Soju that has about 45% ABV. Canada, liquors in Canada are controlled by government. In Ontario, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario sells Soju but not all stores have it. Only big stores have foreign liquor like Soju. They sell 3 different kinds of Soju. Chamisol Fresh Soju by Jinro, Cham Soju by Kumbok Ju Company, and Chum Churam Cool Soju by Lotte. In addition, not all LCBO establishments have Soju, but almost all Korean LLBO restaurants have them. Recently, local Canadian Soju distilleries who produce Soju in the traditional method using local ingredients have sprung up and are starting to distribute throughout Canada. There could be Korean restaurants making their own diluted Soju with their own recipe. United States, the liquor licensing laws in the states of California and New York specifically exempt the sale of Soju from regulation relating to the sale of other distilled spirits, allowing businesses with a beer wine license to sell it without requiring the more expensive license required for other distilled spirits. The only stipulation is that the soju must be clearly labeled as such and contain less than 25% alcohol. This has led to the appearance in the United States of many soju-based equivalents of traditional Western mixed drinks normally based on vodka or similar spirits, such as the soju martini and the soju cosmopolitan. Another consequence is that the manufacturers of similar distilled spirits from other parts of Asia, such as Japanese sake, have begun to relabel their products as soju for sale in those regions. Brands. Jinro is the largest manufacturer of soju. The most popular variety of soju is currently chamisul, a quadruple filtered soju produced by Jinro, but recently Chumchurum of Lotte Berg and Juande, I sent I euro e degree I means good day of Muak, unregistered trademark are raising its market share. However, the most popular brands vary by region. In Busan, C1 Soju is the local and most popular brand. Soju is popular in the Yeollonam-do region. The Daega metropolitan area has its own soju manufacturer, Kumbokju, with a popular brand Cham. Further north in the same province, Andong Soju is one of Korea's few remaining traditionally distilled brands of soju. On the special self-governing province of Jeju-do, Haolasan Soju is the most common brand, being named after the island's main mountain Mount Hala. In Gyeongsangnam-do and Ulsan, the most popular is Juande, Good Day, Soju, produced by Muak and Changwon. However, as soon as one crosses the border from Ulsan north to Gyeongju and Gyeongsangbuk-do, it is almost impossible to buy white soju, and instead the most popular is chamisul and cham. Consumption. Although beer, whiskey, and wine have been gaining popularity in recent years, soju remains one of the most popular alcoholic beverages in Korea because of his ready availability and relatively low price. More than 3 billion bottles were consumed in South Korea in 2004. In 2006, it was estimated that the average adult Korean had consumed 90 bottles of soju during that year. Cocktails. While soju is traditionally consumed straight, a few cocktails and mixed drinks use soju as a base spirit. Beer and soju can be mixed to create sake, a portmanteau of the words soju and makju. Flavored soju is also available. It is also popular to blend fruits with soju and to drink it in slushy form. Another very popular flavored soju is yogurt soju, which is a combination of soju, yogurt, and lemon-lime soda. A poktinja consists of a shot glass of soju dropped into a pint of beer. It is drunk quickly. This is similar to the Japanese sake bomb. See also, soju is sometimes mistakenly referred to as kyeonju, a Korean rice wine. Mass-produced soju is also mistaken for Chinese baijiu, a grain liquor, and sake, a Japanese beverage. Andong soju, Korean alcoholic beverages, rice wine, Korean cuisine, Korean beer, tykU, ogi, sake, awamori, vodka. References. External links, Popular alcohols from Korea.